Let's get more on this now with Luciano Zaccara, who's a political analyst focused on the Middle East and Gulf region. He joins us now from Doha. Really good to have you back with us, Luciano. Can we begin with this quite alarming report that was jointly investigated by the Guardian newspaper? It shows what many analysts and what many people already know, that the vast majority of people killed by Israeli forces in Gaza since October 2023 are in fact civilians. But in this case, these figures were leaked from an official Israeli military database. What's your reaction to those findings?
Well, my reaction is it's not surprised, because we already knew that, but the information is coming from Israeli sources, which is giving you an idea that all the time that they have been claiming that the IDF is the most immoral army in the world have been lies, and that all the narrative that Israel has been trying to build around this being a fair war in which only very low proportion of innocent people were killed is something that has been a lie. It's been constructed without the real evidence, and all the claims that the information coming from Gaza were not reliable, proven to be all a narrative built by Israeli sources, Israeli government, saying that at the end of the day, all the information that we have been collecting or have been observing along these 2 years was actually true, that most of the people that they have been killed is innocent civilian people, mainly women and children, that there is no evidence that most of them were members of Hamas, and that they did not represent a threat for the security of Israel. And therefore, the plan that has been since the very beginning that shows that to some extent this could be labeled as genocide, because it was a systematic attempt to eliminate people, not only members of Hamas, is actually the truth that is going to be proven at the end of the day by the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court, even though the Israeli government doesn't care too much about that.
Now, as our correspondents have been reporting, it does appear that Israeli forces are pressing ahead with this plan to invade Gaza City and eventually take it over. This plan has been condemned by many of Israel's Western allies, saying that it will only inflame tensions and exacerbate the fighting on the ground. What is Israel's ultimate aim with this operation, do you think?
Well, I think that it's clear that the ultimate plan is to occupy fully Gaza, or to, at least following the idea of the Greater Israel, or the long-term Israel plan that is occupying the full Gaza Strip. I mean, we have been hearing that this occupation has been planned since a long time ago, but the circumstances were not the appropriate ones, according to the Israeli sources. And now this war is justifying their need to finally occupy the Gaza Strip, to annex this Gaza lands to the territory of Israel. So according to the Israelis, this is the best opportunity they can use in order to unify, to incorporate Gaza and, in the future, West Bank to the Israeli territory, to have the full land of Palestine. But again, this is not without a cost. I mean, we can see that there is a more opposition toward this unjustified war now inside Israel, that the label of genocide is being used also by Israeli organizations, Israeli human rights organizations. So to what extent this is going to be sustainable long term, I doubt it. I mean, moreover, considering that even members of the army are opposed to this full occupation, because they don't see the justification to do that, and they don't see the utility of occupying the full Gaza Strip, considering that there is still population there. I mean, there are around 2 million people that they live there, and unless they eliminate all of them, or they vacate the whole Gaza Strip by pushing Palestinian people outside the Gaza Strip, this will be a burden on the Israeli security realm, because they need to take care of the security situation of the settlements that will be there. So it's not a big, it's not an easy task. It's not an easy calculation that the government needs to do. And now Netanyahu is, I assume that is not in a good terms with part of the population that is asking for the war to stop because they don't see why they continue this war. And on the other hand, by part of his government that is pushing for the full occupation of the Gaza Strip and the continuation of this war without any kind of consideration for what the Palestinians need.
Given that Israel seems to be pushing ahead with this plan, can we assume that its strongest international ally, the United States, has given it its blessing for Israel to do so?
I mean, it's difficult now to be in the head of Trump. It's difficult to calculate what or to elucidate what he's thinking about. I mean, he can change his mind based on different reports or different news that he's reading every day. Sometimes it looks like he's worried about being remembered as the one that allowed this genocide to happen. Sometimes we see that he's more worried about achieving a peace that will grant him the Nobel Prize. And sometimes we see that he's more worried about preserving the allies, mainly the Israel ally in the Middle East and the Israeli lobby inside the United States. So it's very difficult to think or to elucidate when he's making different kind of considerations in order to make his final decisions. I assume that at this point it's very difficult for Trump to justify why he's 100% supporting the occupation of Gaza by Netanyahu, considering that there is a mounting pressure inside Israel against the war, when there are more reports and more reports being released showing what is the truth of this war, the amount of people, civilians that they are killed, the lack of utility of continuing this war, the lack of success in having the hostages released. So I assume that at this point, the foreign policy advisor of Trump are asking him to reconsider the full support of Netanyahu and that he should really push for at least a ceasefire for this 60 days ceasefire, at least to prevent this genocide to continue without interruption.
Okay, Luciano Zaccara, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you again for joining us on the program.